Now I'm nervous. Okay. Am I there? Yeah? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Cannon Club. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the big managerial shifts that are probably afoot. Because if you've been living under a rock, Xavi and Klopp will not be continuing beyond this season. We're also going to chit chat a little bit about Arteta's contract and whether or not we feel like he deserves it. What you know what constitutes a new contract for a manager? We're going to talk about that and a little bit of a Forest preview because previews are boring because we don't get to talk about results. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but we will touch on it. So yeah, and by we, I mean me, Femi, and Laura. Hey guys, how's everybody feeling? We'll do our one word on how we feel about Arsenal right now, and we'll start off with Laura. Ladies first.
Okay, I actually feel quite nervous. That's the word I'm going to go for. I'm feeling nervous, and my reason for nerves is number one, we do not have a good record at Forest, right? We do not have a good record at their ground, so I'm nervous about that. And then obviously we've had a nice weekend of peace. I've had no Arsenal in my life. I've been enjoying the FA Cup, just out there living my life without Arsenal. But when I've just started thinking about it, I do feel like we are one or two injuries away from a very, very average looking team. And I know a day will come when Rice is properly injured. And I'm not sure I am mentally ready for that. And I'm not mentally ready for either Saliba or Gabriel to be injured. So that's how I'm feeling. That's a very glass half empty view. But yeah, I'm feeling nervous. And then obviously we've got Liverpool next week. So I'm a bunch of nerves and I'm gonna be nervous until the end of that game.
Okay. Femi, one word?
I'm going to make up a hyphen in this word and say well rested. I'm just gonna. It's one word today. Um, I heard the stat that Arsenal will be playing its second game in 3.5 weeks. That is a lot of rest. I'm just gonna. I remember there was a point in time where we were playing one game every 3 days. I'd wake them. There was like, oh yeah, here's a potential lineup for tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow again. So I don't know. I'm well rested. I'm good. Also, I'm going to take the very, very short time to celebrate Nigeria's 2-0 win against, Cameroon. Your jollof rice sucks. Ours is better. So I just wanted to throw that one out there. But outside of that, I am well rested.
I've peeked in a couple of times looking through the window and I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun over there, you know?
Oh
Looks
yeah.
like there's a lot of different things going on. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and like really take it in, but it looks like every day there's some nonsense going on, right?
Oh yeah. No, I'll say AFCON is for everyone who believes that the game is too complicated and we're all these Mazalas and deep line. If you just want midfielders playing midfielders, defenders just defending, and goal scorers just scoring goals, AFCON's for you, but for that, you will also get some of the funniest, most entertaining football you will get for 90 minutes that sometimes you'll kind of look and you'll be like, that didn't really happen when indeed it did.
How likely is it that Mohamed Salah will play against Arsenal in a week's time?
No chance. Not a single bit of chance. Don't see it happening. Like, if I was a betting man, which I am, I would put money that,
Shame on you, Femi. Shame on
I,
you, Ivan.
Clip that. Clip.
nah, I don't know. I heard, I was listening to Charles Watt's, podcast the other day, and they were just literally talking about how Salah's injury is a lot worse than they thought it was. So like people thought like, oh, he was just returning back so he could play against us. No, they're like concerned. Like he might be out for maybe 3 weeks to a month, and if he's out for that long, then cool. But even if he finds fitness, would it make sense for him, especially seeing as be like it's not the end of the season? There is a run in. There's gonna like, would it make sense to risk him against us? Like, and if they do, it's like you really are scared of Arsenal. Wow. So either way, I just don't see it happening. Truthfully,
Laura, let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Salah will find a way to be
Yeah.
up against us. Yeah. Let's be serious here for 1 second.
Even if he's like shipped in at half time and they like land a helicopter on the pitch and off he goes on a stretcher, he will be making a run down the wing and he will be cutting inside and he'll be scoring a goal off one leg. Like, I will not be surprised if he's there. Femi's like, you girls are insane. But he will find a way. He will find a way.
I'm sorry, but I just don't trust it. I don't trust that he saw that Egypt were looking a little rank and he couldn't save them. And he was like, you know what? My ankle hurts. I'm going home.
He's
You
like,
know, because, yeah,
I'm off.
I'm out. I'm out because I can't save it. I can't save it. And watching some of that, like Senegal looks really good. They look like you think they're the favorites, Femi? I don't know. Are they considered the favorites, Senegal, or no? A little bit? Because you're
There
looking at
are no
Nigeria.
favorites in AFCON. I'm gonna be real with you. Like I wish I could like be as honest as possible. It's like there are absolutely no favorites.
Okay, so Senegal looked good, and
They
then
do.
a couple other teams look good. Egypt, they were all right, but Salah wasn't saving that mess, so he was just like, "I'm out." Like, not even El Neni screamer can save them, you know. So he was like, "I'm out," and so I'll be ready to play against Arsenal because that's just how it goes.
They're still in though. Like there's a possibility they make it to the finals, and if if they make it to the finals, like do you like then ask Salah, do you go back for the final if you hypothetically make it, or do you play? And if that's the case, it's like it's not just kind of like Liverpool fans you're
Well,
dealing with. It's Egypt now.
well,
Like it's a
the
country.
longer they stay in, the less likely, obviously, he is to play,
Yeah.
which makes sense. That's why I feel like Thomas Partey just magically started training the minute that Ghana went out. Arsenal were like, he's in training. I'm like, he's been in training. Arsenal, don't play me. Like we're not stupid, but we get how the game goes. You have to play the game a little bit. But even if he's not available, I guess this ties into my word a little bit, which is annoyed. My word is annoyed, not necessarily. It's a little bit at Arsenal, but it's also a little bit I'm annoyed at the fact that Liverpool looks so good because I even feel like without him they're going to cause us problems. Norwich is not a good team, but they just blew them aside. They're doing really well in their cup competitions. I think their quadruple, which isn't the real one, but their quad is still on. And I'm just like, when will we be free of the nonsense? I'm ready to be freed from the shackles that is Liverpool Football Club. We play them 4 or 5 times a season. We have to watch Klopp. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sick. I'm done. And so I am happy that he won't be there anymore. I am happy that he won't be there anymore. Laura, I can't hear you.
I mean, it would help if I unmuted myself, wouldn't it?
I was like, you were muted, but go ahead.
I ran out that stadium when we lost that FA Cup tie, so I did not have to see him do that to the entire clock end. This silly punching of the air thing. I was like, no. Like, drop me out. I don't want to sit here and watch that. So, good riddance.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, Klopp, he's done so much and da da da. And like, I agree with that, but like, as an Arsenal fan, I'm sorry, like, please go. Like, please leave. I'm done. Because we know that, like, as Arsenal fans, it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to replicate that level of success with another manager because when you have an elite manager, you just don't get another one, right? And so, Femi, when you heard the news that Klopp was not going to continue beyond this season, what was the first thing that you thought? Were you relieved? I know you weren't sad. You couldn't have been sad.
Um, it just lets me know that being a manager at the top level is just so hard, even when you're good. It's like you think I heard it and in my head. I'm like, so like I think about like managers like Wenger. I think about Fergie, even Pep now. Like you just think of like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years, and then it's like, especially if you're that good and you're consistently that good with the legacy he has. So in my head, I'm like, seriously, like no, like I had to check like the when I looked at first, I was like, this is Fab. This could be one of those fake Fab pages. Like, no, it's him. Check. Okay. Maybe this is just a rumor. Then, like, I saw the interview and I was like, okay, maybe this deep fake. Like, no, like, I just was not, like, in my head, I was like, there's no way. But just like, it was happening. And when you listen to him, like, really listen to the interview, like, you hear him really talk, like, hey, like, I'm exhausted, guys. Like, they started talking about next year, and I'm like, I might not be here. Like, let's hold the brakes with like the future talk. And like to hear that, it's like I'm like, wow, you really did that in the years you were here, but like, damn, this is really hard. So I'm happy we're building for the future because of the fact that like good fucking riddance. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I get caught up like, yo, he's such a great manager, but like, finally, like, Liverpool fans, I want you guys to remember who you were, like, before this guy. Like, please. So I'm so
For the
excited.
30 years of pain.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, he was the thing about Klopp is like, to me he's the best manager in the league right now. His legacy is not better than Pep's, but I think he's a better manager. And that probably is like, well, how could he be that? Because he hasn't won as much. And I'm like, but he's had less resources. The resources that Liverpool have are nothing like being backed by a nation state, and he's gotten a lot out of some okay players. He's done really well with what he has. So I'm happy that he's gone, or he's going to leave. Also, you have to think about the fact that, like, Femi, where are you going? That's where are you going? I'm like, is he going to the bathroom or what? But you also have to think about the fact that he's going to have to replace Mohamed Salah. You're going to have to replace Allison. You're going to have to replace Virgil van Dijk. And those are players that are not easy to replace. And so I'm thinking, leave on a high, get out, go away, and let's see what you guys do from here. What's the likelihood that they're going to hire Gerrard? Probably very unlikely. It's probably Xabi, isn't it? Laura, do you think that that's like the most obvious choice is to go for Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen, or do you think they may do something out of left field?
Um, it's a good question because it feels like a natural fit. But the one thing that I, just as a complete outsider to Liverpool, would say is that hiring former club legends is hit and miss. It really is. And at least Alonso has had some like half decent experience. I don't know how Leverkusen are doing at the moment. Good, bad, middle,
Flying,
flying.
unbeaten. Yeah.
Right. So he is at least, in that kind of clearly is a Liverpool legend, but also is proven, in the early days as a manager. So it feels like a good fit. Liverpool are a very kind of like emotional, club that talk a lot about their history and traditions. And I think having a Liverpool legend on the touchline is important to them. But it comes with some risk. We've seen it at Man United, Lampard at Chelsea. It is not a guaranteed success. And Liverpool is a very different club to Leverkusen, and he will have a very different role to do in terms of rebuilding and trying to emulate something that he's not going to be able to do pretty quickly. And it'll be interesting as to whether the Liverpool fans give someone new that time, or they will have been used to the success that they've seen since Klopp arrived and demand that of whoever comes in instantly. But I think Klopp leaving is very much a changing of the guards, and with Salah on his way out, and whoever comes in will have an enormous expectation on them and a amount of rebuilding to do. All the while, Pep is still there, and hopefully Arsenal are on the up. So for me, it probably is Xabi Alonso, but again, I don't know. It's just a tough one at a club like Liverpool where the expectation is so high, and that they are going to have to do some rebuilding.
Massive rebuild, massive expectations, the inevitable slide from an elite manager that you've had for like almost a decade. Yeah. I'm hoping that they go down. I mean, do you think that this could be the beginning of a slide for Liverpool? Like, if you had to guess, would you think that they'd be able to maintain, or do you think that they'll have the Wenger Ferguson downslope? Because the Liverpool fans that I've spoken to, they all kind of feel like it's just going to be business as usual. And I'm like, yeah, just wait. It's not easy. It's tough out here.
I think the truth is in the middle. I think there's like merit on both sides, but I think it all kind of just determines of what direction they go to, as well as what that person's plan is with the tools that they have, because they have a young team. Like, if you look at them, like, their team is pretty young. Their core has played together for quite a long time, and Klopp has used their youth pretty well as well. So like, there's kind of like a good like crop of guys that even like, I think Klopp this season was kind of like getting over the hump of getting rid of kind of like the older players that kind of been there for a while. Contracts are running low. So it's like, now it's like, okay, how are we going to figure? I think the only other question which are kind of showing now is if Salah stops being Salah, where are we? I feel like if they can answer that question, as well as kind of the manager of like what type of football they're going to play, if they can figure those two questions out, I wouldn't call them like title contenders, going to be like straight away, but I do think they would be a lot better than Arsenal United when they lost their legendary manager. So literally in the middle.
Mm. There's like no plan post Wenger and post Fergie. There was just like no plan, you can tell. Like there was just very much like flapping around, struggling, like what are we going to do without this person? I don't think Liverpool will be as, like you said, they're not going to be as terrible as we were. You know, Chuckle Brothers, Arsenal and Manchester United. We just we love doing nonsense, you know, but I don't think they'll be as bad. But again, the manager is so important. They're so valuable because I do think Klopp's value to Liverpool is how much he gets out of the resources that he has, the connection that he has to the fans, and being able to get the Anfield crowd, Anfield faithful against you and stuff like that. He understands what it means, all the nonsense, and the fact that he understands how to solve problems even before they happen. He's a very like, he's, to me, like he's so high in my book because I just, when you have American owners, sometimes like you just know like your resources are just so different, and he's spoken about it so many times. So, and I just read something about Barcelona wanting to convince Klopp not to go into, like, you know, a break. Any decent manager would say no to Barcelona at this point. Because again, like, you're going out on a high at Liverpool. Why would you want to step into a mess like Barcelona, which has chewed up and spit out one of their greatest ever legends in Xavi? Who would want to do that? Klopp, if he's talking about needing a mental health break, he'll be in a padded cell after a month at Barcelona. It's a nonsense there. There's not enough levers in the world to make, like, listen, they need to stop, you know. But I also wanted to talk about Xavi because, you know, we spoke about how the media is so difficult, or like so difficult to deal with, and how they almost like um have like this collective siege on the managers that, you know, that come through Barcelona, and how they don't care about their past legends and stuff like that. Xavi, at the end of, you know, the game that they played against Villarreal, ends up saying that, or Valencia, I think it is, they said that he wasn't going to come back. Femi, are you surprised that Xavi has lasted this long?
Am I surprised he lasted this long? No. In fact, I kind of figured he'd last longer. Um,
Really?
I, yeah, no, I saw him and Arteta kind of in that same like, past players who, was under Pep and kind of had that kind of education system. And I don't know. I think one of the lessons in that kind of regime was kind of like dealing with pressure. I watched Arteta when we were dog shit. Like, I'll be real with you. Like, there was this concept called the donutness of nothingness, where we would pass to the left, go to center, go to the right, go back to center, left, right. Xhaka just 125 passes, 2 shots on target all game. Like, it was like the worst thing to watch. And I remember what the TL used to look like. I remember what the media used to look like. I remember Talk Sports specifically, and like just barrages of like, they did a poll of like, who's most likely to get sacked, and it was always Arteta in the top 3. And it was like, and if you know what you're doing, and you have your like, your convictions, it's like, hey, stick to it. Like, if you know in your heart, like, this is the way you wanted to go with this team, you've had a future prior to this team. The results, you knew that if you were going to get a hard loss, if and you knew the injuries you had, you knew things were going to happen. It's either you rise to the occasion or you fall. And like, I'm just kind of surprised he folded. Like, I'd be real. Like, if you feel like you've put Barca in this situation, okay, cool, get them out. Like Klopp, like last season underperformed. He could have easily done the same. He could have did it last year. Like, you know what? I'm not the right guy for the job. But it's kind of like, it just puts a bad taste in people's mouth because you're leaving on like a I couldn't do it, versus kind of like Klopp, where it's kind of like, nah, like, I realize we messed up. I'm going to be part of the change that gets us out of this, and then I'll leave. Because I'm not saying you can't leave. You can leave whenever you feel like it. But it's like, it's almost kind of like, I couldn't do it. My bad. What? No, no,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I'm actually surprised that he has lasted this long, just because the Barcelona job is not easy. They don't have unlimited resources. It's a very difficult crowd, you know, to have get behind you. Laura's gone. Don't know where she went. Do you still see me, Femi?
Yeah, I still see you.
But do you see Laura?
No. I thought I clicked something by accident, but no.
No, she'll be back, but I'm surprised that he lasted this long just because it's such a hard job. The media is against you. He doesn't have Messi to save him, you know? And personally, I think that he overachieved, Xavi. I think he's overachieved with what he's had. People look at that Barcelona team and think it has like tons of talent. It doesn't. Like compared to Barcelona teams of the past, that team is not that great. And he was able to win La Liga last season. They're struggling obviously this season, but I'm surprised at how vicious they've been, considering a lot of their problems to me are more based on what's going on upstairs than what's actually going on the sideline. But Laura, how how quickly do you think Barcelona will be at Arsenal's door knocking for Mikel? You know, he's been linked with the job so many different times. Do you think there's any realm of possibility that we could lose Mikel to Barcelona with his ties to the club?
I don't know. The thing, I think you're not replacing Xavi with anything like immensely different in terms of, you know, what you presumably want at Barcelona now is someone with extreme experience to essentially steady the ship, not take. You know, Arteta is not an experienced manager. This is his fourth season, so I'm not sure why you would. I mean, if it say it's not Barcelona, I can see why you'd bring in Arteta because he's clearly got a vision of how he wants his teams to play. But Barcelona want instant success. I don't know why you'd then look at Arteta and be like, this man is going to bring us back to where we think we belong. So I'm not sure that would be a smart decision for them. And then if you look at Arteta, I'm not sure why you would uproot yourself when you're basically halfway through a process to go to a club where you are going to be scrutinised even more so than you are at Arsenal, and expected to deliver instantly. I think Arsenal have given him time. We still want to give him time. You know, I don't think anyone's going to be screaming and shouting at the end of the season if we've not won the treble. I think if he goes to Barcelona, that's the type of approach that they have, their media has, etc. So I think it's a risk, but I'm at the moment, given how Arteta speaks about Arsenal, given how the players speak about playing for Arteta, which is another thing as well, I feel quite comfortable that we're not going to lose him. That doesn't mean Barcelona aren't going to come knocking, but
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think he is a man who wants to finish the job that he has been given, and going to Barcelona will just be opening up a whole other Pandora's box of nonsense, basically.
Mhm. Arteta also, I think, will know that, like, and he's spoken about it before, that Arsenal have, like you said, they backed him. And even when he hasn't been doing well, like we had went through like what 3 games of not winning and they gave him a new contract. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like you have to repay that a little bit and stick with the project because like you said, like you almost like you kind of owe the club for that level of like faith. And also like you just won't have that barrier of forgiveness at Barcelona. If they'll chew up and spit out Javi, they're not gonna care about you. They barely remember
Yeah,
you were there. You know, it's like you were
yeah.
at La
You are
Masia.
no one to them.
Yeah,
You're
you're
just
no
some.
one. So
Yeah, you're no
they're
one.
not
You're no one.
exactly. So I think, you know, a lot of Arsenal fans are, at least on the timeline, were saying like, oh well, of course he's gonna go. I actually don't think he will. I think they'll ask. I think it'll be a no. And I think Arteta will get the new deal that's been spoken about. Femi, you know, we spoke about this the other day, and you know, I asked you if you thought, or if you would give Mikel a new contract, and you said absolutely. Just basically, just put the paper down and let him say how much he wants to, you know, earn or whatever. Like, just re-sign him. But Laura, I want to get your opinion on that because, like, obviously, there's huge differences of opinion amongst Arsenal fans. It's he what has he done to deserve it? And then there are people that feel like, how could you say that he doesn't? What side of the coin do you kind of sit on?
Um, I think for me, it's not a question of whether he deserves it. It's a question of the promise of what is hopefully to come. I don't know if you're rewarding him for what he's done because, you know, if we're going to be uber critical, one FA Cup, one Community Shield, back into the Champions League. Like, is that enough for a reward? Maybe not, but I would be on the side of we are going in the right direction more so than I think we have ever been in ever. I mean, in the past decade or so. So you are signing him to this is what you're going to continue to deliver. What I don't understand, and I don't know whether this is because his contract is up, or like, why are we doing this in the middle of the season? Like, I feel like we did this last time where we extended it, and we did it with the women's manager as well. Like, why now? Is there like a technical reason, or why do we suddenly have to offer him an extension in the middle of a season? Genuine question.
I don't know. I never really understand what the timing is with these types of things. I don't know if maybe they anticipate there being managerial openings and so they're trying to get ahead of it, maybe. But in the middle of the season right now, it just feels a little like random. I'm
it feels a little
surprised
forced. I'm like, either this is like a really outward showing of confidence in the manager, or there's something going in the background that we don't know about, or it's that anticipation of the kind of managerial merry-go-round to come. But for me, it's a bit of a distraction, and I'm not sure you could say he absolutely deserves a contract renewal based on what he's delivered. But also, why would you halfway through the season suddenly decide that you're not going to go forward with him? So I just think it's a strange timing to do it, but I also think it's a really weird thing on the flip side of it to announce that you're leaving halfway through the season. Like, that is bizarre
what
to
is
me.
that about? Do you think Xavi maybe saw what Klopp did and thought that the reception would be different? Like, I'll tell them that I'm not going to come back and see if people are like, no, stay.
Yeah, see if people
This has
lose
been
their
weird.
tiny minds. Yeah, well, I mean, Barcelona were probably like, okay, bye. Like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Whereas obviously everyone's had their like emotional meltdown about Klopp. But maybe for me, I'm like, that is, you're not guaranteed a some sort of like bounce because your manager's leaving. I think it presents a bigger risk than it does potential upside.
Yeah, it's going to be weird because I anticipate there being maybe 3 managerial openings in the Premier League at the bigger clubs. Like, I think Eddie Howe will be gone. I think obviously Klopp will be gone, and maybe Ten Hag. I'm not sure. Like, there'll be quite a few. So I think we're in for a big summer, not just in terms of signings, but in terms of managers leaving clubs and there being these big openings. And, I don't think Arteta would leave to go to another Premier League club unless it was Man City years down the road. But listen, if Arsenal want to give him a new contract, give him a new contract. Like, it is what it is. I don't understand why we keep giving him to him like so quickly every 5 minutes, but it is what it is. But we have a game when this comes out, it'll be tomorrow on Tuesday because this will be Monday. Listen, Forest on paper seems like an easy game, but we all know that once we get into it, it's never that easy. I don't think that the game against Crystal Palace gave a lot of people like that confidence that we're going to go in there and just absolutely slap Forest. Forest are in a little bit of like an in-between period. They brought in Nuno Espirito Santo, so we'll be coming up against a different manager than we have last season. I think when was the last time we played them? It was last season, right? So we'll be coming up against a different manager, a different philosophy. I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about this because I just feel like just go out there and win. But equally, I want to see us play better. But I'm almost so desperate for the win that I'm like, I don't really care how it comes. Femi, if you could if there was one thing that you could say, like from the Crystal Palace game to the Nottingham Forest, you would want to see improved or changed, what would that be? And don't say nothing. Because I saw you on the timeline talking about this game was perfect. It was not. We can improve. What would you improve from the last game to this one? Not just, not just like goals but like even like tactics or something. What do you think? He thinks it was perfect.
What do I want to change to make a 5-0 win, like a 7-0 win? What do I change up? I want to see the same type of fluidity when Martinelli comes back in. That's number one. I feel like Martinelli is so good at what he does. If he has another thing in his tool chest, I'm telling you, our attack is literally exploding because Trossard, as much as I love him, I think he's like if you listen to Arteta, he talks about his intelligence all the time. Intelligence. sometimes I question it with some of the shots he takes sometimes, but then again, I've also seen the bangers he hits. Was like, okay, whatever. If Martinelli can get to a point where it's kind of like he can also be that intelligent player with the speed he has, with the fact that he's literally one of our best finishers on the team. I honestly speaking, I think that's one. I think Havertz aerially, not like in the midfield. The midfield's fine. He knocked, like when it comes to him being able to just be the big tall guy and knock the ball somewhere that the team can win the second ball, perfect. Heading it to a direction, like a singular direction where it's like where it needs to either be an assist or a goal is where he lacks. And that's where it's like, I feel like a lot of people think then it's like, okay, we don't see your worth. And that's, I feel like if that specific part of his game clicks, his teammates are going to start trusting him more. They'll start putting the ball more in that specific area, and then we can actually utilize the height that we have with him. So I think those two specifically, and outside of that, just lazy passes in the final third. Like, I think there was so many moments in the game where it's like, I mean, build up to perfection. It's almost to the point where even Raya was almost like 12v11. We were just flowing, transition. All of a sudden we're running. And then all of a sudden it's just some lazy pass. And you're just sitting there. It's like, all for what? I can't even post this. Like I would love to show people how great this build up play is, but then it's this stupid pass that wasn't like, there was no need for it. So if we can clean up those three things, I think we're, I need to find a better word than perfect. Like, we're good. We're a really good team.
You know what? Get somebody to defend you and support you the way Femi does Arsenal, because I can think of several more things that would make us better for sure than that. I know you were reaching to find something. Laura, what about you? Like, if you could do the team talk and you were like, listen, against Palace, we were good, but if you just improve this one thing in this game, beyond winning the game, what would that be?
Do you know, one of the things I think I maybe read an article or saw it, but how many shots Arsenal have had blocked because they're taking too long to get that ball from out under their feet. So it's basic, but I would just be like, just have a crack. Next time that you are facing the goal, don't wait for the entire team to get in place and to close you down. Just have a shot, but also be sensible about it. Because like I completely agree with you, Femi. Like Trossard, I'm like, what did you see there that made you think that was on? Because everyone else is like, why are you blazing that into the side netting? Like, are you okay? Like, what? How can you go from being so clever to so stupid and impulsive, and you're blazing it over? Like, I live closer than some of the shots that you have released. Like, come on. So I would say the ball needs to get out from under the feet quicker, have a shot, and we'll be fine. That is let's keep it simple.
Yeah, just stop thinking so freaking hard. Like, they look like they're taking the hardest test of their life, and it's a
Yeah.
multiple choice, and they don't know which answer it is. They're just thinking
It's like
so
it's
hard.
not that deep. You know, some of the best athletes in the world are stupid because all you need to do is a repetitive action over and over again, like a weightlifter or a sprinter. Like, the less that the brain can be involved in the kind of in the action, the better. So next time that you are in that situation on the edge of the box inside, turn and shoot. Off we go.
Period. Like, and I think one of the biggest culprits of that is probably Odegaard. Like, I don't know how many times I watch him just foot up, down, up, down, up, down, little swivel, I'm just like, just shoot. Like, please just stop, and then he'll try to do a little flick or a little trick, and it's just like, oh, I could wring your neck, because it's just like, you have such a good shot on you. Just let us see it. And I don't know what's going on with Trossard. I feel like he's fighting for his life. I really do. Sometimes I'm like, he's like, this is all the chance I'm going to get to, Martinelli's playing like shit. This is it. This is it for me, and so he's struggling, he's fighting for his life, and it's not going well, so I agree with that. I guess I would also just like to see them just have a little bit of fun. I know I've been saying this forever, and it's like, I don't know. I can't tell 100% if they're having fun or not, because they could be having the time of their lives. But from my TV screen, they could be having more fun. They could. Like, where are the smiles? Relax. Drop your shoulders. You guys are tense. Relax. Have some fun. Take some shots. score some goals, play quick, just do it. I don't know why we look so like playing for Arsenal is like a freaking funeral. Like it's just nonsense.
Because
Like
they
have
know
some.
that a misplaced pass will have mark 68582_H say, you piece of shit. How couldn't you do that simple fucking pass you did? Yeah, of course. I mean, look.
Well, get offline. Get offline. Delete Twitter. I don't know what to tell you. Have fun. Seriously, because when you can, I just feel like they're overthinking it and just keep it simple, stupid. Like, it's just, I don't know. The vibe, sometimes you just have to vibe a little bit. And I get that there's going to be criticism for the bad pass, but you guys are making bad passes anyway. So,
I have a question for you guys then. I'm thinking about it. I was listening to this one podcast and they were talking about, like, just the atmosphere right now in terms of kind of just being at the stadium and how it's completely different. And some people are blaming, the allocation system, ballot system. And for some reason, like, the one thing the guy was describing was there was just that element of like, where is this coming from? Like when we came into last season, a lot of it was kind of like, you know what? Let's just get top four. Let's just, like, let's be fun. Let's be energetic. Let's be the youthful team that we are. But now, like this year, there's the expectations. Like, no, you guys are them. You guys have to now, because of the fact that you guys didn't do it last year. You have to do it now. I kind of do feel like that's kind of seeped into the players as well. Of like, we know that like a title is expected this year, so every pass technically does matter. Every shot does matter. Every drop point matters. Which this last season was like, wait, we've won how many in a row? What? Oh, okay. Uh, so it's like, I don't know. It just feels different. But like I don't know. Like what do you guys think?
Laura be there. So what do you think? You're in the stands
Yeah,
sometimes.
Femi, you've summed it up perfectly there. It's just not that deep, and people are like writing essays about it, and I'm like, it's very, very simple. Last season, we had low expectations and we over delivered, and we had a ball because we were like, this is great. We weren't expecting it, whatever. Now we are expecting a win. So, yeah, there is more scrutiny, there is more expectation. That is it. Like, it's not this sort of like really cultural shift. Probably the allocation system might contribute, but ultimately, it's just pressure. It's pressure and expectation. And so, particularly when we are playing against teams we should be beating, which is everyone, right? Yeah, if we haven't scored at half time, then yeah, people are going to start getting nervous. It's completely natural. It's not that deep, and everyone just needs to get over it a little bit, because ultimately, this is what happens when you become a team that is transitioning from being pretty mediocre to challenging for a title. You as a fan have to change how you view going to the games. We're not just, we're not, you know, getting 3 points against teams that we should be beating is routine. It's not a bonus. And particularly, the games against the big sides, the Spurs game, the Man United game, the atmosphere was incredible. The Spurs game was kind of nervous. But ultimately, yeah, Femi, you summed it up perfectly. It's just not that deep. Like we expect big things this year, and the crowd reacts. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think, and not to be like harsh to the players, I don't think they've dealt well with the pressure. Because again, like I said, they look like a team that's overthinking everything because they know that like it's expected of them. And so this is the first season since Arteta's been here where the expectations have been so big. Because I think they've really downed the expectations quite a bit. I think they've made them achievable, attainable. Like a couple of seasons ago, it was just get into Europe. And then we happened to be very close to finishing in the top four. We didn't get it. The last season was just getting to Champions League. We stumbled upon a title race, didn't make it. So we don't have that luxury of missing out and being like, yeah, well, this isn't what we thought. We weren't expecting it. So, and they're young, and I keep reiterating that this is not an old team. These guys have never done it before. Managers never done it before, so I can understand it. I would love for the fans to be able to give them that energy, but also I feel like the players need to be able to get the fans up. And some of that comes from scoring goals and having a little bit of fun. So it goes
The
both
number
ways.
of times Martin Odegaard waves his arms and gestures to the crowd to like give us a bit more, and it's like, but you give us more, like score a goal. Like, it's very much within your, this is a you problem as much as it is a me. Like, don't wave your arms at me if you're missing chances left, right, and center. Like, I think he did it at the maybe the West Ham game, and I was like, sir, like, have a seat, please. We are giving you everything here.
We're waiting.
We're waiting
to get
and
up.
you're getting closer, and I'm here, but also stop waving your arms at me, and go and do what you're meant to be doing, which is score a goal. Like, if he waves his arms one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like, just
what it
stop.
reminds me of is the huddles that we were doing last season. Remember, those huddles are gone now. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Oh, before the kickoff?
Yeah.
They still do it. They still do it, but
we were doing them when we started conceding.
Yeah.
At the end of last season, when we started being bad, they started coming after we concede. And Zinchenko would be like, come on, guys. And I'm just like, stop. Just start playing good. I don't want to see you do this nonsense. Sorry, Zinchenko, you can't get nutmegged and then call the huddle. I'm sorry. You can't.
Yeah. Like, just
Martin,
be better.
Put your hands down. We get it. We'll start to cheer, and there's something to cheer about.
Yes.
Femi, did you want to jump in?
No, because then you guys will say I'm defending Arsenal again. So I'm just gonna let it. I'm just gonna let you.
It's fine.
Look, I don't know. I think it's tough. I feel like last season again, it's like you had a bunch of young players with Xhaka and Zinni and Jesus kind of trying to tell these kids, look, I don't think you guys understand like the position we're in right now and how rare this is. And I know we're down 2-1, but if you guys can stop thinking so goddamn much and just play your game, I promise you, we'll get you guys out of this problem like we've got you guys of every other problem. Just relax. So like, I feel like we see them less this year because I feel like it's one more year of experience. They're kind of like, okay, we've been down this rodeo before. The expectations, we kind of get what's going on, and we have more leaders on the pitch. But like, I don't know, man. I just like I just like as an athlete, I think in their head is just kind of like they've seen other people do it. Like Giannis, like there was this one Giannis' little brother, they were down like 20 points and it was in the bubbles. There was no fans. And like he does this one thing where like, cause like he averages like 1 point a game. So he does some crazy thing and he scores at the last second. And he's looking at like the thousands of like monitors and he's like, and like I'm just thinking in my head, I was like, okay, so what did you want people to shout louder in their rooms? Like I don't know what. So I just feel like as athletes, they just in their nature, they're like, I remember other people doing this and it worked, so I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna get that. And people do it. There's fans who like they see it and they're like, and then they see a bad pass and they're like, and they go back. So it's like. I don't know.
Odegaard's never done that towards me, and I've done anything but said, just do better, man. Like, I've never been like, let me start cheering because Odegaard did this.
But there is a 16-year-old. But there's a 16-year-old that's like, look, Dad, he said go.
And I'm sure that 16-year-old was like, stop playing shit. And going. I'm saying, it's like, it is funny, and I know some people like get like mad about it. Like I know some people are like, oh my god, Odegaard's doing this. I'm honestly, it's like not that deep. I just, the stadium is what it is. Like there was only one season where we were hype. Every other season it's been like this, so it just kind of went back to type. I remember being there in the Emery season where all we needed to do was win one game so that we could have qualified for the Champions League and went into that Europa League final without a care in the world. And we sat there and did not win a game in 7. And I remember being like, my first ever Arsenal game was the Brighton game. It was quiet as fuck in there. It was quiet. It was so quiet. My mom was there next to me, and my mom, she loves Arsenal, so she's standing up and she's cheering. Everybody's looking at us like, what the fuck are you cheering about? We're shit, And I'm just like, damn, the Emirates is a tough crowd, it's a tough crowd. So there's nothing different to me about this season is like every other season. The stadium is what it is. Last season we just happened to be surprisingly very good and fun to watch. It's just gone back to normal. When we start winning things, it'll get hype again. Trust, it will. Gabriel Jesus and Gabrielle Magalhaes were not featured, or they weren't shown in the training photos. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't play, but we do know Gabrielle sustained that injury at the end of the game against Palace. If for some reason Gabrielle was unable to play, do we trust Kiwi, or did he get the job done? Laura, you trust Kiwi? Kiwi got it. Do we need to put Declan Rice back there in the back line?
I think because it's Forest, and I think they've got a lot of players out at AFCON as well. I think he is. This is fine. He doesn't fill me with immense confidence, but I also don't think he's got that kind of like Zinchenko error in him, if that makes sense. Like he's a kind of solid 6 out of 10 and quite consistent, but doesn't fill me with immense. I don't. What's the alternative if it's not him? Put Declan Rice back there.
That's the only alternative. We don't have any other option.
Mm-hmm.
We could be freaky. We could be very freaky, and we can and hear me out. So what you can do is, I'm just thinking about it, right? You could, technically speaking, if the reports are true about Partey returning, then you could possibly run a Ben White, Saliba pairing. I'm closing my eyes. I'm trying to see it. So yeah, so those two, and then even though everyone hates it, you throw Partey back there, and then put Rice to the 6. It's not bad. It's not a terrible lineup.
Thomas Partey's very first game back, right back shifts. So
can you imagine the timeline? I would pay for that. I would pay to be the admin.
That would be hilarious.
Putting that timeline out.
I almost want to tweet it and say, I got some information that this is how we're going to set up.
Yeah, just be like, Arteta wants to ease Partey back in by putting him at right back.
Gabriel won't play, so Arteta's going to play Ben White and Saliba, Zinchenko and Thomas Partey at the back.
That sounds like the most line-breaking passes from both wings ever, though. You gotta big brain it. Think about it. You gotta... I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna get killed for this.
Is Elanga injured or no? Because Elanga would murder Thomas Partey. Murder.
That's fair.
Murder.
That's fair.
Elanga is one of the fastest players I've ever seen. And to be honest, I could run past Thomas Partey. If there was a lot of grass.
No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't.
I could.
No,
he ran
there's a lot of disrespect. I'm allowed a lot of disrespect. I'm not.
I could run past him. Because once you're by Partey, you are by Partey. He is. So I don't want to see him at right back, but I am good. I'm gonna create some little trolley account, Arsenal leak, 1989 or something like that, and say
how you do it.
Not gonna play, and this is what we're gonna go with.
Too easy.
I want you guys to retweet it and say,
man. What? You catch someone like me? What? No, and me, someone like me who loves being very thorough. I'm a retweet and put eyes, and I'm like, now everyone's.
Ooh, honestly, I think I would.
Wow, that might be a good. That might be a good
worth it, wouldn't it? It would be worth it. But Gabriel is so available all the time that even if he wasn't in training, I could see them just managing him so that he could play, because Gabriel is just that guy. I would be very surprised if he didn't make it. And so I do anticipate seeing the usual backline with Ben White and stuff. Thomas Partey is back. I think some people want him to start right away, but if I was Arteta and I knew that I had, Anfield, Etihad at the end, stuff like that, I'd kind of just use him when I needed to, because the cycle that he's on, you only really have 3 or 4 games before he's injured again. So use those very, very well. I don't know if we need him against Nottingham Forest. Laura, if Gabriel Jesus is not available, girl, what we gonna do? Did we have that conversation? I was like, when I saw that he was somebody was like, he was in the training photos, the way I threw my pen, I was like.
To be fair, I mean, the training photos they did this with Zinchenko in Dubai. Like he wasn't in any of the photos, and then he started at Crystal Palace. So I'm fairly sure he is fine.
I hope
As
so.
for who we start instead, Femi, please go because I'm out of ideas, and do not say anything like you just said.
Just put Thomas Partey up
He's gonna
there.
whisper.
We can give it to the guy who scored the first time when we were there this season. We can give it to that guy who created the shot on his own and did the thing that Laura asked us to do.
Oh my
more
gosh, he's
frequently.
talking about Nketiah. He's talking
No.
about Nketiah. Do you understand how I forgot about him? Do you understand how I was thinking Trossard, Havertz? I forgot Nketiah was there.
Go watch that performance by him against Nottingham Forest. Go and watch that one. That you'll be surprised. That I'm telling you. Just saying. If don't kill me.
I could totally see him starting too. Low-key.
Yeah, so can I.
Yeah.
Could we not
Say
do
again?
Havertz up top? Surely not. Surely not Eddie. Havertz in the middle.
I mean, if you want to get
It's all the
ESR some
same.
minutes, then yeah, that would be the option. You put Havertz up top, then you would put ESR there. It's just a light midfield. That just would be the
Yeah.
problem.
No,
Like
I'm just gonna see Grandpa Georgie. Let's go.
and
Yeah.
make it
Georgie,
even,
let's go.
and then make it even lighter.
Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. Let's go. That is our best midfield right now. I stand 10 toes down on that. If Thomas Partey is not ready to go, Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard is our best midfield right now. And that's what
I don't know. The only reason I don't know is, do we expect Forest to press us? Do we expect Forest to really give our midfield some issues? And if the answer is yes, then I hear your idea. But if they're not going to put an extra man and we're just like lollygagging in the midfield, we need as many bodies in the almost at the paint like it's basketball. We need as many like.
advocating for Havertz right now? I just need to know.
It just depends on what we want to do. That's what I'm saying. I know I always say it depends.
Well, if we want to be good, then we'll put Jorginho and Declan Rice and Odegaard. If we want to,
and then we're gonna have 3 shots on target, 25 shots that are blocked. It's gonna be the most annoying performance because we can't pass over the top because they decided to just sit back and none of our players want to be able to create their own shots. And then we're gonna be like,
Jorginho will break the lines, and Rice will do the Rice thing. We'll get the ball and just dribble up the pitch and make it happen. It'll make sure that Martinelli's not stranded on an island because he'll have somebody to pass to because Havertz won't be in La La Land, never land somewhere over there. I think it's the right thing to do because Havertz didn't really. I mean, he was okay against Palace, but if we're honest, it would not be that big of a deal to do something a little bit different. I mean, what are we? It's okay, we've seen what a dual monster gets us, and to be honest, we are giving him a lot. We're putting a lot of mustard on the dual Havertz thing. Mm-hmm. Havertz is a dual guy. We're putting a lot of.
We're the best. We're the best pressing team in the world right now by stats. I like literally, like I'm not even joking. Like number one, we're the number one counter pressing team in the world. I know that doesn't mean anything to anyone. I'm sorry, it means something to me. We are the number one counter. We are the number one counter pressing team in the world. I do not remember the last time Arsenal was the best at anything. I'll be real with you. I do not remember the last time we led a stat that wasn't red cards. I'm sorry.
Not red cards.
I'm sorry.
Not red cards.
Like,
I hear you. Go ahead.
But what do you want? Like, do you want a medal for that? Like, that doesn't mean anything.
I think it's important though. I think it's so important. Like when teams, it's almost like teams are like suffocated against us. Like literally, it's almost like when they get a shot off, it's like that should not have taken as long as it did. But it's like we're so annoying to play. Like on the ball, we can be so much better. Trust me. And I feel like that's where the bread, that's where the money, that's where everyone wants to improve. And I'm not complaining. But we are one of the best teams when we don't have the ball. It's actually scary. Like it's scary how good we are off the ball. So I don't know. I don't care if it's Havertz or Jorginho, but I do love that stat. Like I'm very big on like, if you can't put the ball in the net, at least make sure the other team doesn't have the ball. Worst case, just take the ball back. You missed a shot, lost the ball. I don't give a damn. Get the ball back, and then we try it again and again.
The thing about it though is that like I would love these stats more, these off the ball stats, if it meant that we were not conceding goals. But recently, our defense has kind of started to let in like not a lot, but quite a few more goals. Like, I did read a stat about Arsenal conceding the most off of set pieces or something like that. And I'm like, so we're really good at attacking them, but defending them, we're really crap. So these off the ball stats make sense if we're getting like clean sheet, clean sheet, clean sheet. But right now, we kind of need our attack to bail the defense out because we're leaking here, here, or there. We didn't against Palace, but Palace were abysmal. Before that, Fulham, weak. West Ham, weak. Liverpool, weak. 6 goals. That's too many to concede. So the off the ball stats are cute when you're keeping clean sheets, but when you're not, it's like, okay, so how are we going to put the ball in the back of the net? We can't do that with Havertz, but I think we're more likely to see a better midfield balance if you have Jorginho in there. And yes, like, I had the biggest meltdown of my life when we signed Jorginho. I never thought I'd be advocating to play this guy, but I think for 12 million, he's actually been a really good signing, and he adds a little bit of something something to the midfield. Yeah, he's not going to do the duels, but he's going to be in midfield, and that's what we need, I feel. So we'll see. But if I woke up and looked at my phone and saw Havertz was starting, I wouldn't be surprised because Arteta, he loves that guy. Like, he really does. He has to make that shit work for sure. He has to make that shake. Um, Score predictions, thoughts on how the game might go. I haven't watched a lot of Forest, to be honest. I don't spend a lot of time watching Forest, so I'm not sure how it's gonna go. Any score predictions or things about how it might go? Do you think we'll start fast? Do you guys think we'll win the game? You don't seem very confident, Laura.
I would like
She doesn't think we're gonna win, guys.
No. I think it will be slightly tougher than we would like it to be. I think Forest are on a half decent run at the moment. They're not like they're not in a terrible state from memory anyway. I think it's difficult when we've got one eye on the weekend for sure. Like, they just need to get this done and with no injuries and no dramas. Typically, I don't think we're very good at that. Really clinical. What I want to see is a 2-0 convincing tie of, we've taken our chances. Maybe it wasn't that pretty, but it was clinical, it was professional. And then you can switch your attention to how are we going to stop Liverpool at the weekend. So I think it's a potential banana skin because some of the players may have one eye on that Sunday fixture. And that also comes into the kind of Partey question. I don't expect him to start, but he might get a few minutes as a warm-up for Liverpool. But I think we'll win. I think maybe 1-2-0. I want to see a clean sheet, and I want to see I want to see them have fun, but not too much fun. Like, organised fun. Organised professional fun. Where you come away with 3 points and no dramas.
In their last 3 games at home in the league, they beat Man United, they lost to Bournemouth, and they also lost to Tottenham. So we should be beating them.
Yes.
We should be beating them.
If I were you, well, like I said, if I was a betting man, which I am, I am betting on Saka's GA. Like, I'm not joking. Do you know why? Do you guys know why? Do you know why? It's because Nuno Tavares has to start because their other left back is an AFCON playing for Nigeria. I don't know if anyone knows that.
He can't play against us.
He can't play.
So they're down. So they're down to Harry Tofolo. That's who they're. That's their left back who had to play right back, I believe. Yes, who had to play right back. So yes, they're down to their third string left back. Yeah, they're down to their third string left back. So I just want everyone to know that Saka is going to have such a ball on that wing. Like, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I mean, Saka has finally gotten what I would consider some rest, some time off. So I am expecting the team to look fresh, and they looked fresher against Palace, but it's just hard to gauge because Palace were horrendous, so I'm hoping that our little bit of rest helps us. I mean, the last time Nottingham Forest played was Friday. So they played a couple of days ago, so we should be fresher than them. And hopefully we are. They drew 0-0 to Bristol in the FA Cup. So I just expect us to win the game. I don't want to see any nonsense. Like, I'm really not trying to see what I saw against Fulham. That was alarming to me. But I think that was like a breaking point hopefully they know, start winning the games, like start scoring goals, do the thing. Yeah. So I guess my score prediction, like I hate doing score predictions because I always go 2-1 because I'm chicken shit and that's just the easiest thing to predict. But I'm actually go a little bit bolder. I'll say we'll go 2-0. We'll get a clean sheet. Raya to have another good game. Don't chuck it in the back of your net. I cannot do another Raya week. I cannot do it. These past couple of days have been nice because we haven't had to talk about Raya. So, Femi, what is your score prediction?
3-0. Like, that's even me being nice. We're going to like obliterate them. They're gonna have like 2 shots. One of them is gonna be on goal, and then we're gonna complain that 2 of our goals are set pieces. So yeah, I'm gonna go 4-0.
Laura?
I'm gonna go 2-0, which is comfortable. I'm gonna go 2-0, but it should have been like 5 or 6. Somewhere in the middle.
That's like Arsenal this season, if we've played well, usually win like 2-0. And we have tons of shots and tons of chances, but we don't put them away, but we get the 2. So hopefully we do more than that, but we'll see. You guys, we talked about everything and nothing all at the same time. I love these types of shows because I'm just like, what were we even talking about? I just remember laughing a bunch, and that's the point of these podcasts, is just to laugh and talk about Arsenal. It is what it is because it ain't that serious, you guys. It's just football. Guys, we are going to be doing a live show on Wednesday on the YouTube channel. So we're trying to figure out who's going to be available and who's not. But you guys asked to have a live Canon Club, and so we're going to deliver. So we'll see who's all available, but we'll be doing that for like post-match for the Forest game, and then we'll do the lead up to the Liverpool game, which I am dreading with everything in my life. Laura, thank you so much for being a part of the show, as well as Femi. You guys know where to follow them. I'll have all their information in the description box. Make sure you guys get into the comments and let us know how you guys are thinking about the shows, if you guys like them, whatever. Agree with everything I said, disagree with everything Femi said, and love everything Laura said. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.